get started. Welcome everybody to another Midweek with Max. We are fresh off of Bitcoin 2025. We are welcoming back our good friend Josh today and joined by John Greenwood and our co-founder Max Sanchez. As always, I will turn it over to Max because my throat hurts. So, take it away, Max.
All right, awesome. Welcome everyone to another Midweek with Max. We had a great time in Vegas. We had a bunch of the team. I think we had 9 people from the team out in Vegas. So super productive. We did our own side event. We did a dinner two different nights. We did one dinner and then a more open like mixer. People coming and going, eating little portable food bites. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, the events went really well. Met a lot of interesting people. Yeah, John, if you want to talk to that event, you were the one who organized it.
Oh man, I was just going to say tapas. That was the word. It's all about the tapas.
Thank you. I knew there was. Yeah, thank you. Just forget the. But yeah, so we did that event. Went to the actual main conference. Was pretty exciting. Had a great turnout. A lot of interesting people. It's the Bitcoin crowd, so it's always it's cool to see the more Bitcoin focused crowd because all of the events we've been at this year have been very Ethereum focused. So it was cool to see. It was kind of reminiscent of Nashville last year. So yeah, very productive. Talked to some teams who are looking at building protocols on Hemi. Some teams specifically interested in building with HVM Bitcoin awareness tech. So that was cool. And I know BD had a lot of great and productive meetings as well. So the event's going great. And then just getting back into the swing of all of our standard scheduled programming after Pizza Day in Vegas. But we deployed the Pectra upgrade for testnet this morning. So you should now be able to use all of the features in the Pectra upgrade, like the set code transaction for account abstraction on our testnet. So we're going to be doing some final testing on that this week and scheduling the mainnet upgrade probably for early next week. What else? We also got some major improvements coming soon for the Hemi network repo, which is like the PopMiner, BFG, BSS, TBC. We're doing a big daemon rework, and we're in the final review stage of that. We're also adding testnet 4 support for TBC. And so once we get that in and tested, we're going to be updating our testnet, basically doing a hard fork of it to move from Bitcoin testnet 3 with the difficulty bomb issue to testnet 4. So it'll be nice, though we can it'll behave much more equivalent to what we actually see in mainnet. So for people who want to build and things with HVM, people want to use the Bitcoin tunnel, all that will actually be possible and replicating very much the mainnet experience once we do upgrade to testnet 4. So looking forward to doing that. And also we're going to be publishing a paper on our new approach to BitVM soon that leverages HVM in some interesting ways to solve some security and capital efficiency problems with existing BitVM designs. So keep your eyes peeled for hopefully a publication of that later this week. And with all that, I will turn it back over to Rick.
All right. Thank you, sir. John, did you want to add anything to the Bitcoin 2025 update?
Yeah. So on the BD side, it was pretty hectic. As Max had highlighted, we had a couple of really cool events. Really get to kind of get down and deep with some of our partners, as well as some new protocols, intermediaries, etc. There was a couple of kind of big topics, stables across the board, like Bitcoin DeFi across the board were two of the larger topics that came up quite often. Institutional Bitcoin, has been quite a big topic for a while, but that was, floated quite often. There was a couple of big speakers on that. Didn't get to catch as much as I'd like to. It was pretty busy, but the conference itself was really good. Some of the connections made there were awesome, and our side events were very fruitful, so that's always good. Also got to play some blackjack with Max, so it's always a good time. And yes, I did see him dance for about 7 seconds. He may not know this, but I did. So there's no documentation or proof, though. Sorry. I was not aware at the time. But yeah, it was a good time overall. And I definitely, it's really cool to see like the differential between 2024 when we launched the product until now. At the time it was like trying to get the word out, trying to get people to understand the tech, etc. Now, what was it like I always rock out a Hemi t-shirt that I have, and then we get some new ones in halfway through. And I don't know if it was a t-shirt or what it was, but quite a few people, I'd say like more than 50% of conversations I had with individuals that I don't know personally knew who we were, what we were doing. So I was very happy to see that, and really cool to see that progression. So thank you, Rick.
Yes, sir. That's great news too. I noticed the same thing in Pizza DAO. People like instantly recognized it. I mean, given we did sponsor it, but at the same time, it was really cool. Like even just the side convos that the team's been having lately with getting new folks integrated is super exciting. And Max, if you review the questions, there's a couple notes for you there, but I can proceed with the safer ones, if you will. So let's just kick things off with Old Faithful. Max, when TGE?
We're still at very soon, so we're nailing down some final things with listings, market making, all the standard stuff, making sure that we have our own marketing plan aligned with them. Any third parties want to partner with to help get the word out. So still landing a few final items. So we're still at a very soon for now, but it is very imminent.
All right. What is the main purpose of the eventual Hemi token?
Quite a few things. So basically everything that the Hemi network needs to run and operate and be decentralized and secure will all be based around the Hemi token. So everything from participating in protocol governance, voting on upgrades to the protocol, voting on changes to protocol parameterization, all of those kinds of things. On the governance side, it'll be, we're working on calling codename this converged staking system. So basically, think of it like restaking, but it's more protocol native. So you stake your Hemi tokens once, and then you can go and opt into a bunch of different protocols that you want to participate in, whether that be being a decentralized sequencer, whether that be participating in proposing and publishing data to Ethereum for DA, being a batcher and proposer, whether it be providing liquidity for cross-chain onboarding around our Bitcoin tunnel system. We're working on a upgrade to the Bitcoin tunnel system that's going to be basically a liquidity protocol wrapper around it. So kind of like how you can use Stargate to go and take ETH to the Ethereum network, you don't have to go through the one-day withdrawal process that you normally do have to with the default tunnel. Are building a liquidity protocol around our Bitcoin tunnel that'll act very similar, which is also going to enable some interesting integrations with potentially partners in the Bitcoin mining space, but that's a separate discussion. But providing liquidity for those kinds of systems, and then in the long-term future, you're running services that support the L3 ecosystem. So basically, shared sequencing, shared DA layers, participating in those will also be based around staking the Hemi token. So those are the main things. There will be, I'm sure, other uses in other protocols. And as we start seeing L3s come out, it'll also be using the Hemi token for them to pay fees to perform POP transactions to Hemi as this security aggregation layer. So the L3s are going to be paying fees in Hemi tokens to then collectively basically add to the budget that gets used for publishing data to Bitcoin to secure the Hemi chain, and then indirectly through that aggregation layer, all of the L3s that are publishing to the Hemi base layer. And then we're also going to be making the Hemi token the cheapest way to pay fees on the Hemi network. So if you pay in ETH, it's going to get converted to Hemi tokens before it gets paid out to the sequencer who included a transaction, or gets paid out to wherever the fee collection goes for paying for DA or going into a DAO or whatever that future structure looks like. So it'll also be the cheapest way to do transactions and interact with protocols in the Hemi ecosystem. So hopefully there will be even more than that, but that's what's currently on the table.
All right. Thank you for that explanation, sir. on the subject of tokens, but different ones. What is the Max token? Is this an official token like the Hemi token, the eventual Hemi token?
It's a meme token. It's it's a community initiative, so it's nothing official about it. But we do want to do fun things with the meme tokens people are working on. I've been a little more read into the whole hair token side, so haven't done too much of a deep dive on ideas for the Max token yet. But we'll definitely stay tuned, and if the community has any ideas, definitely let us know.
All right.
But for now, just treat it. It's a fun token. Almost think of it like a test token. In like some protocols that we're playing around with, we're setting up a liquidity pair and that token to test things out and play around with it and get the community to participate as well. So for now, just a fun token.
Here's a brief follow-up. Will eventual Hemi merchandise be purchasable with either hair or Max? That's an interesting question.
Not something that was on the radar, but that is actually a cool idea.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We have to get that merch store up.
We do have to get the merch store up. I've posted when merch numerous times.
Yeah, I think we had. I forgot what the blocker was on that, but we need to revisit that. We had some cool merch on there. Then
there's a lot of cool stuff. The intern's been bugging me. I know the community wants merch. Your boy wants merch. We all want merch. So, yeah, we should totally open that topic up. Moving on. Many people are suspecting that Discord roles may affect reward allocation. Is this true?
Discord rules, reward allocation. No plans for that. I mean, there may be something in the future where there are additional rewards for people with Discord roles. Not a promise, just saying we haven't decided. Absolutely, that would never happen. But it's not going to be relevant for the testnet season or mainnet season 1.
All right. When will there be a new NFT? When will there be new NFT marketplaces on Hemi?
I think relatively soon. Yeah, John, if you want to chime in on that one.
Yeah, I know of one that's working on deployment. It's kind of, it's a, how do I explain it? An entity that takes a little bit longer to get involved. So, that's coming along. Also, to have talked to some new, like, ENS style deployers and, similar products to that are not directly NFT marketplaces, but are pretty closely related. So we should be seeing some stuff relatively soon. No, that's pretty generic, but we'll definitely be, you'll see the normal updates and posts as soon as they're solidified. So expect that within, the next week or two.
All right, that's great news. And yes, we will have a formal announcement when that is solidified. Is there a way Hemi users can use .hvm or .hemi domains for their public addresses?
Not in the same way as like a .eth domain. So basically, like, not to get super technical about this, but with .eth domains, there's a resolver for them natively built into the Ethereum chain. So wallets and pretty much most sending mechanisms as of today would accept a, jgreenwood.eth will return my wallet address. On Hemi and L2s, what ends up happening is that the wallet itself needs to support the resolution of the underlying address. So there's two, one that's currently live and another one very soon on Hemi. So the .hvm addresses, you can download a MetaMask snap that allows those to be resolved. I'm 99% sure that's live to the public right now. If it's not, oops, it will be very soon. I know that's something that team had been working on for a little while. I spoke with another team this week that will be doing the same thing for, another set of domains. So they'll be supporting a new domain sequence, and then they'll also be supporting a MetaMask snap for it. similarly, like with the wallets that we have partnered with, have started conversations with them. Like, it's pretty low priority at this current time, given everything that's going on. But certain wallets do allow native resolution for chain level domains. So we're still kind of working on that, figuring out kind of what the default is, because it's much easier to ask for one versus two or three. So, so the short answer, as of right now, I believe yes. I'm looking at a conversation, and it appears that we do have that. I'll actually post, the name of the snap later. That way people can utilize it if they want. And I'll expect like more traditional, pretty much what you were referring to. I would expect like .eth style resolution will come, post TGE, and kind of once there's a little bit more downtime for things like that. So. Once again, I don't want to give another like soon answer, but this one's yes now, but more soon.
All right. Thank you, sir. Has the team booked events in France or Europe? And if not, are there plans to?
I'm assuming
I don't think there's anything on the calendar yet, other than, are we doing something with ETHCC? It all kind of blurs together.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are. To be fair, we have like a department that deals with that stuff primarily. Once on the ground, I assist with those things personally, but I do know that we're talking with it right now, or dealing with that right now. At the very least, I know that some of us will be on the ground in ETHCC. Not exactly sure who, but I believe I will, to be fair. But with that being said, on the event side, that stuff usually takes until a couple of weeks out to kind of solidify. So a little bit more on the stay tuned side there. But as far as the traditional team presence, similar to Dubai and other events, I'm sure that will happen.
All right, thank you. And yeah, much like our other events, you will certainly see announcements. It'll be blasted all over our socials, and we'll get as much exposure out there as possible before and during. Where was it?
One side note, like if you're ever at one of these events and you're part of the community or whatever, you can always reach out to me on Telegram, like personally, if you're not getting in or whatever. Would love to meet more community people in person. There's been a couple here and there, but don't want any barriers for those that are more intimately part of the community. We have a couple different styles of events. Some of them are like what I'll call VIP style. Those, I can't make any promises. That's a little bit more of a intimate scenario with, known, backers or protocols that we work with. But like as far as our public facing events, that should be no problem to get people in if they are around. So always happy if someone wants to reach out so we can meet up.
All right. Here's an interesting one. There's many other BTC-Fi projects, such as Corn, BitLayer, Bob, etc. What makes Hemi different from these other projects?
Yeah, good question. So we've touched on this a little bit, I think, a week or two ago, but high level, basically, Hemi, two main things to look at. The first is most of the projects in the Bitcoin L2 space, they are only in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So they're building in isolation, just on top of Bitcoin. With Hemi, we have this dual chain, dual L1, L2 architecture, where we're natively connected to both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so that lets you do a lot of cool things between those two networks that you can't do if you're just launched and running isolated in one of those ecosystems. So for example, when we have the BitVM tunnel deployed and we have the ability to bring tons of Bitcoin on-chain in a very secure, capital-efficient manner, not only can we bring that to the Hemi chain, but we can also bring that through Hemi to the Ethereum ecosystem. So first major thing is that interconnectivity between the two ecosystems, rather than just being a chain in a single ecosystem that's basically just go from L1 to L2 back to L1. Now we're facilitating the transfer of assets between those two ecosystems, being able to write dApps that interact with contracts on the Ethereum side and can also be Bitcoin aware with HVM. So it opens a new design space for what you can do with between those two networks instead of just in isolation on one of them. The second big thing to highlight is HVM and the Bitcoin programmability that it offers. So basically being able to write dApps that are much more Bitcoin native than you can do with other solutions on the market. So when you look at Bitcoin programmability, there's really two versions of it. The first version is take Bitcoin, wrap it, bridge it, tunnel it, in some way get a representative token that basically acts as a bearer bond on a remote chain, and then use that as a ERC20 or the ERC20 equivalent of other ecosystems. And there's a lot of value in doing that, but that's only one way of designing Bitcoin applications. You can also build Bitcoin DeFi applications that interact with Bitcoin natively. So all the settlement happens directly, instantly on the Bitcoin network itself, or you can be integrating with protocols like Lightning or things that are very much Bitcoin bare metal versus needing to go through that wrapping, bridging, or tunneling process. And so most other projects in the space are focusing just on that first way, whereas with Hemi we're doing that, but we're also giving you that second way of designing much more Bitcoin native applications, being able to build a native Bitcoin DEX or a native Bitcoin lending protocol or a Bitcoin MEV marketplace. Those kinds of things are either harder or can't be built at all with existing Bitcoin programmability systems, things like a header relay system, or some of the projects that do have access to, say, for example, UTXO state on Bitcoin. They're bringing that in through a trusted centralized oracle or some sort of oracle set, like what one project does, where their sequencers can answer questions about the UTXO table, but you're trusting the sequencer that processed your transaction to bring the correct data on chain. There's no way to verify it or challenge it. And so with Hemi, with HVM, we're giving you direct access to all of the Bitcoin data from the Bitcoin network without any oracles, any relayers, any trust models that you can directly access and parse through in your smart contracts that you write. So opening up that new design space for much more native Bitcoin DeFi applications versus just that first model of taking Bitcoin, turning it into an ERC20, and then using it like any other ERC20. So those are the high level. We could also get into Bitcoin security, but I'd say from a adoption and what users are going to directly benefit from with types of dApps and how they work and the settlement mechanisms underpinning everything going on in those DeFi applications. Those are the two main differentiators I'd focus on.
All right. Thank you, sir. When ambassador program? Oh, I can take this one. It's now.
I think that's one for you,
yeah. Join the Hemi Alliance. We post tasks as often as possible. We'd like to do them daily, but depending on participation, and just the amount of participants we've been receiving, sometimes that's every couple days. They'll be posted on weekdays, though, typically around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's all through Guild. You can follow the links that are available in the posts that are posted daily. That are when the task is posted. There will be the proper links, one with the guidance and one with the Guild page, and it's pretty easily trackable. And also, there's some really cool initiatives coming soon with that. Right now, we're in Tier 1. I can say that there will be 2 more tiers, which we will provide clarity on when we get closer to the release of them. But for now, it's open to everyone. Everyone can participate. And honestly, the cool thing is, because of the stuff we have going on, you may have seen us listed on Kaido and Cookie.fun. If you're posting about Hemi for the Alliance, it kind of fits into those as well in a weird way. I mean, because you're talking about Hemi and it's all about sharing and mindshare and engagement. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, it seems like a pretty easy layup to boost yourself on those platforms as well. That sounds reasonable, right? I know I'm rambling, but sorry, I'm feverish. I'm gonna move on. All right.
We're already at 80% today.
All right. Yeah. Okay. When will Pop Miner points be visible? Many users are unable to see their final points on the PopStats website, and this has remained unfixed for several months. Can you provide some clarity?
Yeah, I think it's only
Max, I apologize. I can't hear you. I'm not sure if anyone else can.
Yeah, he dropped out for me as well.
Okay. Yeah, some folks are saying no sound. All right. While we're waiting for, let me actually type this too, just in case you can't hear this.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. And he's back. All right. So let's take it from the top, if you don't mind.
So pop points. So if you're referring to the testnet points, it's only a small number of addresses that were affected. So the vast majority of people should be able to see their testnet pop points credited correctly in Absinthe. There was an edge case with the way that they did the export. And so some addresses, especially people with tons of addresses linked together, there were some instances where not all those addresses were correctly associated in the export. And so we'll be rerunning those now that everyone's back from traveling. We should be able to do that by the end of the week. But most of those should show up. And if you're doing pop mining in mainnet, that's a totally separate thing. And all you should be looking at is the pop points actually on the blockchain that you can see on the Explorer. So those will not show up in Absinthe. It's a entirely separate, not program, but entirely separate mechanic for mainnet. But if you're talking about the testnet points and you're one of those small number of users who were affected by the export not linking all your addresses together correctly, that should be fixed by the end of the week.
Also, on a similar note, while in Vegas found another weird edge case where actually I think it was at the end of our New York stay when I was with Max, found a scenario where there's certain pools that were basically duplicated in the system, leading to, I believe this is specifically Sushi Swap, leading to some users not seeing pool points for them because there's like two sets of data in there. Working with Absence to fix this, went through some tickets this morning and saw that was what most of those situations where people are saying that they're not seeing those are coming from. So, that was in the works. Also, last week, or actually, I believe it was last week, or the week before, I had talked about some of the staking related points. That's always been tracked. Keep in mind that, our tracking versus what the user sees are two different things. All points are being tracked. The hard part, weirdly enough, is showing them to a user in a way that is abstracted and usable. So on that front, it's a kind of a similar thing. There was two data sets that were there. That was kind of confusing, something specifically for ETH in some stables. So that is also in Absinthe and is in the process of being fixed as we speak. I've seen a version that is, fully functional and tested, so that should get pushed momentarily. Also, there's a couple of other small things that I mentioned 2 weeks ago that are about to be committed that I'm just running over additional testing on. So on the point side overall, pretty much every issue I've seen is being addressed. The only thing that still, we don't have a direct method for is users that have a hacked wallet or something like that. That's still a coordination between Deimos as well in order to get users swapped over. Because I've seen quite a surge of those. Some of them are definitely not genuine, to put it lightly. But for those users that do have an issue with, your wallet's been compromised or whatever, please make a ticket, as we do have a way of working around that. It's just not optimal at this time, but, we're doing our best to facilitate that crossover. So please, if you have any issues like that, make a ticket.
All right. And I believe you just covered my next question of when LP points will be visible. So if there's nothing else to add, we can move on, unless you want to add something else to that.
The LP points, for all of the primary pools that were there, when we kicked off the program, they are visible. What happened is two things. Number one, which has already been fixed, additional pools were added after the fact. So, you have three ranges usually on most dexes, 0.1, 0.3, 0.1, or 0.3, as far as the fee size. Those were all onboarded initially, but two of the dexes have created additional pools within those ranges that were not being tracked as, or not in real time at least. So those have been tracked on back end, adding those to front end momentarily so that users will be able to see those. And then the other thing that I had spoken about, which is very, very similar, it was just a duplication of data because of that users were, the back end was basically getting confused on which number was correct. In reality, they needed to add the two together. So for those users hoping to have that up by end of week, the latest, as mentioned, have seen the version that is working. So hopefully nothing is found out with that and we can push that out. So, on the LP front, feel pretty confident that that should look good very soon. And on the staking front as well, those two things should be cleared up. Also, since, might as well give it all. On the Pectra side and any of the manual stuff such as Deimos, as I've always mentioned, will be very late, pretty much at the end of season, whenever that may be. We will credit those points and you'll be able to see them and kind of validate that. Pectra, on the other hand, because it's a little bit more in-depth process, that's always been something that we're running a script in order to automate, but they do have to be manually added. Because of that, worked on a version of a script right now that's going to allow us to constantly pull that data, kind of leave off where we pick up where we leave off, I should say, which makes it a little bit easier to kind of increment those points. So with that being said, those should also be live relatively soon. With all the other fixes this week, I'd like to say early next week. But, don't want to make a promise on that, as there's a couple of things that have external dependencies. Altogether, though, there's been 4 fixes pushed in the past 2 weeks to some of the larger issues. Once pop points, as Max had mentioned, is completed, as well as the LP staking scenario this week, I believe that that will account for pretty much all errors out there. A couple of weird outliers with some of the wallet related stuff, but as always, please make a ticket if you have any issues on any fronts with the points program. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. As a kind of follow-up, is there an end date for Epoch 2 of Deimos as of yet?
The exact date, no. I don't want to keep giving the same canned response, but our thought process was basically to run it from 7 to 10 days. As internal timelines change, we can extend that ever so slightly. So, you will know, at least a couple of days before the end is. I would say, as of today, at least until early next week. At a minimum. So, we can, like I said, that can be extended. We won't ever, scare you oh, it ends tomorrow. With Epoch 1, it ran for quite a while. So, we give you a 48, 72 hour heads up. We'll do something similar here. I'll try to give you even more of a heads up because it won't be quite as long. So no definite date as of now, but you should have ample time. And as always, there's really no purpose in waiting for it. There's no bottom ticking be the last person to verify type of thing. So, I would take advantage of that sooner rather than later.
All right. Thank you, sir. My wallet address was compromised. Is there any way to change wallet in Absinthe and Deimos without losing my progress?
And I kind of just spoke about this. On the wallet compromise side, due to the large amount of actors that are acting in bad faith, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So the short answer is yes. There is a way to swap out your OLME ID. It would have to be burnt from the current address, reminted on the new address, and then points can be we can fix on the back end to attribute those points. It requires a couple of things though. I would recommend A, creating a ticket, and B, reaching out to support at deimos.global in order to start that process, which is going to be the first message I send you anyways when you create the ticket. The difficulty there is that if you are acting in bad faith, it's not going to work out. So I would just keep that in mind. And it's usually very obvious when someone is saying that they've been hacked and they've exported funds right back to the funding wallet. So, things like that I have seen a little bit of recently. But in short, Absolutely, it should not be a problem as long as you can complete verification again on the new wallet.
All right. John, while we got you talking about wallets, we got one that just came in chat. Um, is it possible to link many wallets on mainnet as it was on testnet?
As of right now, it's not. There's kind of a reason to this. You generally speaking, with the economics factor of mainnet and also the kind of the pop being separated with a tokenized variant. There's really not a direct need for it. At the same time, if you were to create multiple wallets internally, there has been people that have like merged points on those. You would just kind of create a second address, not verify on it, create a ticket to let us know. The thing is that like we don't have a direct process for this internally, so I would not suggest this, as it would not the outcome may not be the same as doing, or most likely will not be the same as doing it on one address. So that would be my short answer there. We will try to accommodate things like this, but since it's out of the primary flow, we will defer to kind of the primary wallet always.
All right. Thank you. Let's see. Are there any updates for node license holders?
Nothing at the moment. We're still figuring out whether it makes sense to do any part of the node sale. If you did already buy a node license, you will get your node license or get something that is equivalent. So if you bought it, you'll be taken care of. But we're not sure if we're going to reopen it and pursue it, just because there's, at this point, a lack of interest in the market in the node sale structure. And so unless that changes, we probably will not be reactivating it. But if you did buy a node license, you will be either getting it or getting something equivalent, and you'll be taken care of.
All right. Thank you, sir. On to pop mining. How many pop miners are actively running on mainnet?
So we have about 60 miners that are connected to the backend we're running. And then on-chain, we're seeing about 7 to 8 of those at any point in time, generally speaking, being actually active doing pop transactions to Bitcoin, earning pop points. So I'd say the real numbers like 6 to 7, sometimes peaks up to 9 or 10 active at a time, which is a little more than we want for the economics, which is fine for right now because everyone is just splitting that 100 token, 100 pop points token reward. But we will be upgrading that system soon to the dynamic elastic reward distribution. So stay tuned for that. There's other items on the plate with the mainnet Pectra upgrade and all that are taking precedence over activating that new payout system. But probably stay tuned for that in the next week or two.
All right. I believe this is the final question we have. How exactly are pop miners rewarded on mainnet? Does every pop token have a direct conversion to XP points or another token? And if so, can you share what the formula is for this conversion?
So there's some things we can't exactly say on it at the moment, but we'll probably be able to give more details on when we do the final tokenomics. It will not be converted to points or XP. The only thing we can say is basically the pop points payout is meant to simulate post TGE economics. So make of that what you will, but basically the intention is to be as close to the real thing as possible, but just without having the actual post TGE token to distribute. So, but just for clarity, it is not part of the points program. It is an entirely separate mechanic.
All right. Josh, did I miss anything else? I think we knocked everything out. I'm just doing a final check. Oh, hold on. Gonna ban that scammer real quick. Get out of here. I think we have come to the end of questions for today, so we can actually wrap this up a little early. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thank you to our amazing moderation and helper team. Thank you to the team in general, especially Max and John for doing this weekly with us, and thank you to the whole community. I'm going to turn it over to John and Max for outros, and we can call it a day.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us for another Midweek with Max. We also, a couple weeks ago, we discussed doing another engineering AMA. So I think that'd be, not sure this week or next week, but we definitely want to get that on the calendar soon as well. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned. Maybe we'll make that coincide with publishing that BitVM paper so we could answer any questions people have about that or walk through some of the mechanics and interesting bits of how Hemi's architecture helps benefit BitVM designs, not just for us, but also for other people in the ecosystem, even if they're not connected to the Hemi network directly. So some interesting stuff there to discuss. So looking forward to doing that, and appreciate everyone coming out, and we will see you next week. And also stay tuned for the Pectra upgrade activation time on mainnet. And if you are running a mainnet node, you will have to upgrade prior to that activation to stay in sync with the network. So we'll be communicating details on that shortly.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. I can do a brief community update, but I think everything has really been communicated via the announcements. As of now, there is not an update for the OG/Hemithic role. It is still a work in progress, so please stay tuned on that. Like I've been saying, it's going to be down the line. It's purely cosmetic, so focus on the creative roles. Right now, the biggest community things you can be doing is participating in the Hemi Alliance, which is essentially the ambassador program, as well as take a look at Kaido, take a look at Cookie.fun, and those are really the big beats. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything. Forgive me, I'm a little feverish today. So if I sound like shit, that's why. I think that's really it. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. I know some folks were asking about the Rap God role. When I'm not fighting a fever, we can do it next week. I know I said that last week, but please forgive me on this one. It's cosmetic anyway, but it is really fun, and we will get back to it. You have my word on that. I just got so much to do, and my head is on fire. So please forgive me. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will see you next week, and take care all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great one.